And welcome back to BLOCKTV, where it is time for Pump or Dump. That's that point in the week where we're looking at dominant news narratives of the week and trying to agree or disagree with the agenda between ourselves. So that means whether we pump it or dump it in favor of another. To do so, I'm joined by none other than BLOCKTV's crack team of reporters, starting with the one and only, the boy that is the joy, Zachy Hennessy. There we go. Tech maven, Ron Spitzer. Blue-eyed man with the eye on crime, Yona Hochhauser, and Asher Westrop-Evans. There you go.
We found him in the alley.
We found him.
Behind the
No.
building.
He doesn't need more introduction when you have a name like that. We're going to start with round one. You get a minute. As you know, that's the game. The name of the game, a minute to state your case. And we are beginning this round with Yona. Round one, not your keys. I love when you go back to the foundation. Not your keys, not your crypto versus your keys, not your crypto. And your minute begins now.
Yes, as the resident BLOCKTV crime reporter, I've also often harped and pushed the idea of not your keys, not your crypto. If you don't hold your private keys, usually on a hardware wallet, an offline cold wallet, then they're not yours. So they're in the hands of the exchange. Anyone can steal them. I'm a big proponent of hardware wallets. But I was dismayed to find out that research by the Kraken security team has found a vulnerability in the Trezor hardware wallets, which have up until now been considered very safe, that if a hacker has physical access to the device for up to 15 minutes and has special tools, those are a lot of ifs, but if he does, he's able to force his way into that hardware wallet and steal the private keys. Now, while obviously, if you're just walking down the street, they're not going to be able to pull this off. But let's say they do steal. Let's say they steal from you their hardware wallet. Your private keys are up for grabs. This is scary stuff. I'm happy it got found, but I really wish that they get on this, because I thought.
Yep. I'm going to finish it for the man because he did think, not your keys, not your crypto. Oh my God.
You're saying if they get your wallet, and if they hack into your wallet, and if they steal your money, then they have your money.
Yeah, but
if they get their hands on it, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah,
no shit.
If a hacker gets no, but not no shit. The whole point was they were supposed to be utterly secure.
Yeah.
But you know what? This just brings back to the point that I think a lot of crypto advocates have to move past the whole not your keys, not your keys, not your crypto thing. Much like we move past keeping our money, our cash under the mattress at home. Let's custody them. Yeah, well, sorry. Let's custody these things with, not everyone can. If you got a good safe, at home, you can keep your money in the safe and do whatever. But for the casual user who just wants to invest a little bit and, use a custodial service, host it on a website with multi-sig security tools.
Do we trust
Listen,
that?
not your keys, not your crypto was a thing started by Trace Mayer. I hardcore believe that we should just tag Trace Mayer in this post and see what he thinks about that Kraken report and see his alternative. Because when we interviewed him a little while ago, he seemed to feel very strongly about this being the way. So.
Right, but people are not up to doing that at an individual level. You're not going to get the mass adoption people are craving for by keeping the money under the mattress. Like, people are going to lose their card. They're going to die with their their passphrase in mind and not tell them to anyone else.
Rest in peace.
Or they're going to just forget them.
Yeah, or just forget them.
Not to mention, eventually we're coming up to a crypto native age. If somebody steals your wallet or your keychain and they do have your keys, then suddenly they know what to do with them. It's not like nowadays if you go out to the streets of New York, they have this flash drive, they just chuck it away because they don't know what to do with it. Eventually, these folks are going to know what to do with these hard-coded wallets, and anyways, they're going to be able to hack your shit. So you're never safe.
So in short, was Peter Schiff
Insurance.
right?
No, insurance is the answer. We have solutions, people. It's called
conclusion,
insurance.
right?
It works in the banking sector. It can work in the crypto sector too.
Which would make a lot of people much more comfortable.
Okay. Moving along, and you all win this round. It's the beginning of the week.
Okay.
I'm feeling generous. We're moving on to Asha with Bitcoin versus Litecoin. Interesting. Your minute begins now.
Okay, so we're all very happy with how Bitcoin's done since the start of the year, kicking off the year at around 7,300.
Ending January in a very high
Right,
note.
ending January, now around 9,500 at the end of January, now hovering around the humble 9,300. All very nice, but nothing on Litecoin, which has had a stellar run, up 65% since the start of the year to Bitcoin's humbled 30% odd rise, hovering around the $71 mark at the moment. And what's so exciting about this, and why I think we should be focusing on this move at the moment, is it vastly mirrors what happened in 2019, where we saw Litecoin, who we all recall leading the charge for the first half of 2019, seeing stellar runs and outperforming most other coins up until the end of the first half of that year. We're seeing that mirrored now, and that was what led Bitcoin and the rest of the market up into a huge bull run throughout the first half of 2019. So looking at a pure chart analysis, fractals analysis of the way the charts are moving, we're seeing this repeating pattern occurring. We're seeing Litecoin pumping up, we're seeing Bitcoin following along behind, and if we see how that plays out into comparison to last year, then I think it could be a very exciting time for bull markets, a very exciting time for analysts. You know, I mean, we last time saw it run up to around 13,800.
Ding, ding, ding. He had like 2 minutes
I
there.
did wonder when my time was going to hit. I was willing to continue
I
waxing
want to have the
lyrical.
control room camera. Let me see. Do we have the control room camera? Just want to see if people are awake there. Okay.
No, they're asleep.
They're
There we go. See, that's why. It's empty over there. Everyone's on break. That's what's going on.
Okay. First of all, what do we think, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen?
I reckon you're probably right, because what's good for, I mean, you hate to say, I mean, I don't know, listen, I'm no analyst, but when the Bitcoin goes up, then everything else goes up. And this is also true for kind of an indie darling of the cryptocurrency network, which is, of course, Dogecoin. And they're doing very well. I've made like $4.
Honey, you gotta let go of your Dogecoin.
Maybe
You know,
I-
you gotta let go of it. You're hanging on. Okay.
it'll never happen. And
You're
I'm gonna be the
Dogecoin
world's
holder
first
of last resort.
Dogecoin 100naire, okay? That's
No,
going to be me.
I've spoken to Joe Saz, BLOCKTV's technical analyst, enough times to ask the simple question of, where's the money coming from?
Yes.
Right? Where's it going? Because Litecoin, I mean, it underperformed, right, during its halving, and people
Right.
were kind of skeptical, and I think still a little bit, like, what's going on with this thing? So just because it shot, like, maybe people are saying, we should have gone in there on time and gotten out at this
But
point.
but it is an interesting one because it did. You're
Yeah.
right. It performed so well at the start, like leading up to the halving, seemed to perform very poorly around after its halving through August, and then towards the end of the year. And now we're seeing a pump. Like there's no halving
Right.
approaching. There's no
So-
narrative that
So
suggests
is there
it
news
should.
coming out? What's going on?
It's a good question, but again, from a purely like chart fractals perspective, it's interesting to see that pattern repeat, and I think it's exciting.
Okay, Yona wins this round. Now, moving along to Zaki. Okay, God, I love this headline. I have no idea where this is going. And you would like to go with Musk for a hot second there versus Musk's home continent, and your minute begins now.
Absolutely correct. All right, everybody likes to talk about Elon Musk. Every time he tweets or mentions or whispers about Bitcoin, everybody's always getting themselves hot and bothered because you know, he's a man with a lot of money, and so everybody gets excited when he speaks about it. Here's the thing, though. Musk gives approximately 0.25 of a shit about Bitcoin. He really doesn't care. He's very neutral, a very beige opinion on Bitcoin. So what we need to do is we need to dump that whole narrative of like, Musk mentioned it, it's the biggest, whole big deal in the world. We need to move forward, and we need to start talking about where Musk comes from. Africa, he comes from South Africa, but we're going to expand that to talking about the continent. You got companies like Bitsika, which is a cross-borders transaction app out of Ghana. You got BTC Ghana, a remittance platform. You got South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria. They're all looking at CBDCs. There's a lot of development that's going on. Just you know, Jack Dorsey is talking about it, but there's also a lot of development that's going on even behind the scenes that people aren't really talking about as much as they could be. And I think we should talk about it more because go Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because go Africa.
Yeah.
I'm
Great ending.
Yeah.
No. That was.
I'm gonna side with Zach for the first time here in Pumper Dump.
It's true. It's true.
I'm gonna side with Zach, and I'll tell you why. I do love Elon Musk, but I do agree that whenever a big name mentions Bitcoin, there's no reason to overreact. But what was the promise of the blockchain in Bitcoin? You know, it's more the blockchain, but also Bitcoin within it, is the idea that, you know, to kind of get people away from the traditional banking system. And Africa, as of today, holds the most unbanked people in the world. This is a major place where blockchain and Bitcoin can do major good.
And they already are.
Yes, exactly. And I think we should highlight that, where the Bitcoin and crypto as a whole could bring to Africa and bring them forwards and really help the people there who have been looked over by the traditional.
Can I just say one thing? Because I'm looking at Iran, and the only thing that goes through her head is, I've been saying that for years.
I will say another fun.
Hi, I'm listening graciously.
I will say another fun fact. Tesla stock is outperforming Bitcoin on the year to date.
True.
Just fun fact. Interesting.
It's a month. It's for a month.
Look, I would argue,
very well.
first of all, and I love what all of you are saying, but because I'm so ancient and I love mentioning that, the problem is celebs sell.
Yeah.
That's the
Gotta find,
problem.
some African
They
celebs.
sell. Yeah, usually stories
okay,
out of
check it
Africa
out.
come out usually only when Elon Musk goes
I've
there.
cracked the code.
Or Madonna.
Or Madonna,
Here's
exactly.
what you do. Black Panther 2, everybody uses Bitcoin. There you go. Sell it.
It's an American film.
No,
So
it doesn't
Wakanda?
matter.
No,
based
it's
on
international.
Wakanda.
Wakanda, not a real country.
I know
Bitcoin-
Wakanda's not a real
You know what?
country.
Wakanda would
is
use
located
Bitcoin.
in Africa.
Sure.
You know.
No, actually put Bitcoin into a
saying.
Hollywood narrative.
It does make sense.
But
Not something that is illegal, rather than everybody on
But,
planet.
but you always got to mix in the Africa. It's like vanilla and chocolate. If you mix them together, they go
Okay,
so
this is
fine.
going way off from that, but okay. So, you know what? Yes, you guys win this again. We're going to
Booyah.
move along, possibly we're moving to round 2.
We're moving
yes.
to Ron Spitzer. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Iran Spitzer. It is Iran.
The fire.
It's
awful.
because I'm so like I'm
I know.
just speaking
No,
so
it's
much.
awful. Iran is finishing round 1, and going back to Elon Musk. You want to dump Elon Musk on Bitcoin versus
Right.
Zuck's privacy. This should be interesting. And your minute begins now.
Right. So, like my lovely coworker Zachy Hennessy, I think we should dump that whole Elon Musk narrative because it was kind of BS. He didn't really say anything important. He just used the word Bitcoin, and we all like screamed like Tesla, SpaceX. Elon Musk is doing good things. Yes, I just don't think that every time he tweets about Bitcoin that should be the narrative. Although on the other hand, there we have Mark Zuckerberg, who was recently speaking at the Silicon Slopes Tech Summit 2020, which is in
Oh, for the love
Salt
of God,
Lake
sounds like
City.
Davos for tech. Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
something like that. But basically, he kind of provided guidance for 2020 and what Facebook is doing. And he said that, there would be principles now that Facebook would stand for, regardless of whether it, quote, pisses people off or not. We're talking about politicians, I think, in this particular instance. But the whole thing, because he's really trying to work on privacy. What does that mean for Libra? Is he still trying to push that forward? Or does he not care anymore? And now he's just saying we're private and we're looking into that and we're trying to be better?
He actually said Facebook is private.
Well, he said that they're working on that, and again, that the way he wants to go about it pisses people off. That was like the line I got.
Yeah, that seemed to be the only takeaway that was really out of that. Like, he's going to piss a bunch of people off. He's already pissing a bunch of people off.
No, but so I didn't get to this, but let me just continue my time.
Okay.
So last week.
I'm going to actually time you.
So
You
last
got
week
10 seconds.
Last week on Facebook, myself, personal use here, I went into my Facebook app and it gave me a security check where it gave me 4 windows, and I got to kind of see what is completely public and what is private. In my knowledge, clearly Elle is interested because she gave me over 10 seconds. Anyway, so they are trying to do things. I don't know
And her
how
time
realistic
ends now.
that is.
I like
working
the
on it.
idea of this is slightly related. When they give you when they tell you, hey, find all the pictures of a crosswalk. Here's like 1,000 pictures.
That's
Click
if
the
you're a
ones that's
robot.
across.
That's
Yeah, I
to
know.
determine if you're
I always
a
like
robot
it.
or
I
not.
always like to reaffirm in myself that
I'm not a robot. Because sometimes you wake up in the morning and you wonder. Okay. Look, I'm all for pushing Zuck on privacy and seeing if he is private. But I think what is your thinking of that?
My thinking is this: I don't think the best way to decide whether someone's a robot is to make them identify the crosswalks, but rather the best way to decide if you're human is if you'd help an old lady cross that crosswalk.
in Africa.
Skynet historically does not help people cross the crosswalk,
But-
so that's good.
Oran, to delve into the point and the meat of your actual point here.
Thank you, Asha.
I think that until Facebook gains some credibility on, let's say, its political advertisements, a relevant subject coming into the 2020
So nothing
US
in the
elections.
Libra
and-
stance,
well,
isn't it's not going to matter? Like this thing that they're not now doing to push forward privacy is not going to make a difference?
they've still said, like Zuckerberg hasn't said anything about a willingness to change his view on
Ah!
political advertising.
You're making
Okay,
it. That's what happens when you talk on
wins
top.
this one. Thank you. Okay, we are moving now to round 2. Round 2 begins with you, Yona.
Yep.
And this is Bitcoin Cash centralized versus Bitcoin Cash decentralized.
You got it exactly right, yeah.
You got it. Okay, your minute begins now.
Right, so there's been a lot of criticism against BCH. This is a criticism that faces a lot of altcoins, but specifically BCH has been harped against by it's Roger Ver's coin, it's Bitmain's coin. There are just small amounts of people who control essentially the entire cryptocurrency supply and thus the voting power. But what I love to see and what didn't get enough talk about was last week we spoke about how they proposed a mining tax and the community actually fought against it and they ended up not passing that tax. And I think that we have to give BCH credit. I'm not the biggest fan of BCH, but I gotta give them credit where credit's due. They showed that in the end of the day, when push came to shove, the community was able to stand up to the so-called centralized power of BCH and say no, and actually pull their weight and actually make a change, make their voices heard, and that's what I like about blockchain, that's what I like about crypto. Now, I guess that's what I like about BCH.
Okay.
7 seconds to
Well,
go.
I don't care.
That wasn't a minute.
That's
It's been inconsistent
Yeah,
time.
one could argue that he actually made his case within
He
54
gave
seconds.
his extra seconds to Iran in the past.
I
There
see
you
the
go.
floor. I see the floor.
There
Okay,
you
ladies
go.
and gentlemen, what do we think?
No, after you.
Oh, please. No, I mean, look, I totally agree. I think this is a great use case in decentralized governance. This is a case of those coming out there. I mean, were they the small individuals? No, they were large mining pools in the BCH community, but they did come against the supposed creators, hegemons, the sort of people behind the initial project and say, swing their weight and say that we want to make a change. And I completely agree. Whether or not it didn't get enough coverage, I mean, here on BLOCKTV, we covered it extensively.
Not that angle.
So,
I wanna angle
well,
that
I
angle.
did on multiple occasions, but that's fine. You can check out my interview with Bobby Ong from CoinGecko, in which we discussed this exact topic.
Oh, too bad
Let
I
me
watched the
ask you.
segments.
Let me hit you with a cold take. Is centralization so bad?
Well, in this case, yes.
Yes.
I mean, according to the community, like the majority disagreed, and it would have been very bad.
Think about it that way. Compared to Lebanon, they wanted to raise the tax on gas. Everybody went out to the street and stopped it. They did the same thing with BCH.
But with less
But with
violence.
less fire.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
We're all for democracy. And we're going to move ahead to Usher. Round 2, CBDCs versus Hyperledger 2.0. Your minute begins now.
Okay, so I'm dumping CBDCs not because they're not an interesting topic, just hasn't been a big development recently. I think we can move on from those headlines for now. Now, Hyperledger 2.0, this is exciting stuff. So Hyperledger, the open source collaborative effort hosted by the Linux Foundation to create enterprise blockchain solutions out there into the world. Some of the biggest companies in the world subscribe to this project. We're talking Cisco, Fujitsu, Hitachi, IBM, Intel, CME Group. That's just like a small smattering of the dozens of different companies that get involved in this. Hyperledger Fabric, their main enterprise blockchain solution, has just undergone a 2.0 revolution. And the details of which are relevant, some privacy concerns, some governance elements being addressed, but more importantly, the fact that they are out there developing these enterprise solutions and taking them to the next level, I think is really powerful stuff. They're not just talking about it, this is a project that's actually employing the blockchain for enterprise solutions across the world. I think it's very exciting stuff, and I think that it shows that there is real development and real use case when everyone's still in the digital asset community saying, where's the use case, where's the use case?
Have
It's
they
here.
found a use case? Have they come up with a solution?
Hyperledger Fabric does tons of different,
Such as?
intercooperative, projects being done by IBM. They use a ton of different stuff on it.
The food trust, I
Yeah,
believe, is
food
built
trust.
on
Also,
the...
what's great about Hyperledger Fabric is just how many major companies kind of contributed
Right.
to the open source code, and then those same companies are then also using it. So like
Yeah,
IBM, you mentioned,
yeah.
Intel, so they both contributed to it, and then they were going to use
Right.
you now.
I'm a firm believer, in innovation and technology, and I believe innovation and technology usually doesn't happen in the public sector. So I don't think CBDCs are going to be push forward the technology, might push forward adoption, but not the technology. I think this is good. This is the private enterprises pushing forward the technology.
And the interoperability of it, I think, is just so wonderful. As Zoran said, like that, all these different major companies buying in by giving in, elements of code and development to the project, and then going, okay, now we bought in, we want to
Yeah.
actually use this.
They've essentially signed off. So
Yeah, entirely.
It's very
That
cool.
said, what does Zachy think?
Shucks.
Peaches and peanuts can both be traded on the Hyperledger.
That's what I
Fabric.
think.
There we go. Okay. We got it, folks. We got it. We're moving along. But we're moving. First of all, you all win this. Once again,
Sure.
it's a Sunday. And we're moving along to Zachy with Bitcoin Twitter hash flag. Your minute begins now.
All right, we were talking about the Bitcoin Twitter hash flag. But Zachy, I hear you cry. What is a hash flag? I hear you continue to cry. Well, I'll explain. On twitter.com, if you send a tweet that says hashtag Bitcoin, for example, from now on, you're going to be greeted by this cute little BTC Bitcoin B emoji. And isn't that just the sweetest thing? So this is something that Twitter does special. They do it for a few things, select things in the old universe that you're tweeting about. They do it for Xbox. They do it for Death Stranding. Those are the ones that I've seen because I'm gaming related. But this could potentially mean big things.
Eurovision. They did
it for Eurovision as well. This could mean potentially big things for Bitcoin in general. Once people start saying, think about it this way. A lot of people like emojis. They got this emoji movie. What does this mean? In the future, you could be watching Emoji Movie 2, and suddenly out of nowhere, the Bitcoin B comes trudging out. Hey, everybody, invest in me, kids. Crypto nativity. And that's the true meaning of Christmas.
Woo! Okay, what do we
Well,
think?
it's the true meaning of Christmas.
I got to tell you, I have a feeling we're no longer needed BLOCKTV because now that there's an emoji, that's it.
I mean, I didn't quite understand what hashtag Bitcoin meant until I saw the symbol.
Right.
And
Then it all
cleared
became
shit
clear.
up.
Then it all became
Is it
clear.
the only cryptocurrency that has this? Is there any
I
other?
believe that it is, but I do not
I don't
know,
think
so I will
Litecoin
not
is
answer
making
those.
Australia's strides.
I wonder if BCH and BSV also pops up automatically. Is it confused?
Doubt.
Zachy, for once in your life, you actually win this.
Yeah!
He
That's not true.
won
I
when
win.
there was
I win
a
every
prize.
time.
Let's not
fairly
act like
often,
we're
yeah.
all sour about it.
Okay,
know he
no,
got the prize.
and we love it, Emoji, Bitcoin has just made it into the emoji sphere. I think mass adoption is here. I'm still stuck at Asher loving Eurovision. Now, we are moving to, last but not least, Ron, with blockchain startup Slip versus Tron Lawsuit.
Yeah, so both of these pieces of information came out at the same time, right? CB Insights released that report last week that was, that kind of indicated that in 2019, startups started slipping and that money was going away. But we all kind of knew that at this point and we were happy about it, right? Because it means that shitty companies without any project or viable business plan or anything are kind of going out. So there's nobody that I've spoken to that's upset about that news. So we can dump it for now. We knew it and we're happy about it. So then Tron Lawsuit, this Tron Lawsuit, it was talked about last week and nobody's talking about it. And I think
so
it's
with
the
you on that.
weirdest thing in the world. So the lawsuit accuses Tron of illegal working environments and unethical business practices. So within a report by William Fitzgerald, one of the lawyers representing the two employees in this case that are accusing, these are California employees too. How are you gonna do unethical practices to a California-based company that is employee geared most of the time? They don't defend the employer in California. What is wrong with you, Justin Sun? We have to stop talking. This guy needs to start being on the map. I'm gonna still talk. It's ridiculous.
That's my inner
to me.
child now. I just want to say, that is exactly how I feel.
No, because
I
it's
have
ridiculous.
no
That
answer.
one, nobody's talking about it. Two, nobody seems to give a shit.
My favorite
Yes.
part of the lawsuit. I read through the whole thing. My favorite part of the lawsuit is that in it claims that
Somebody
Justin
slapped
Sun
him?
slapped
Yeah.
him. Doesn't Kang Ling?
It's
Kang
not
Ling's
funny.
a defendant. Kang Ling's getting sued in the lawsuit for getting he got slapped.
No, again, we're laughing because of the how absurd this
Yeah.
is. But the fact that I feel like the space is so small that nobody's talking about or caring about this stuff. But this is
Either
this is a
that
bad
or-
precedent.
I want
Either that-
to check something
Yeah.
though. Your deepest concern in your explanation seemed to be that
That
it happened in California.
No,
I'm
I'm
if it
just
happened in another
pointing
country,
out.
but in
No,
California.
I'm just pointing out specifically how
Yeah, the
stupid
California
even
should
if
remember
you're
because
from New
California
York, you
employee laws,
understand
yeah.
not to do shit like that. It's the lowest level of stupidity is what Justin Sun has just
I'm going to
surpassed.
hit you with another one of the Zachy Hennessy's golden hot takes.
By highest level
Justin
is what I
Sun,
meant.
kind of a dummy. Huh?
No, but the
And
question
then nobody
remains,
gives
the
a
question remains, why is this fear?
Who
Actually, it's a
cares?
good question. The lawsuit, the information is out there. We've reported, it's all over the web, whatnot, et cetera, et cetera. Why isn't this fear making more of a big deal out of it? Because, Tron is one could argue, one of the strongest people
how
in the sphere.
upsetting is that?
Does it mean that we're all just shilling? Or does it mean that, what does it mean?
Not necessarily a lot of care for employee rights across a decentralized community. I mean, it's
Yeah, just be
as a
everybody
hot
on your
take,
own. Each
yeah.
person just fucking,
self-sovereign.
Okay, thank God. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for this. Very much, really. Zachy, you won the whole thing.
Yes.
Yay!
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.